Good evening, everyone. Welcome to day 3 of our agribusiness incubator. Tonight, we'll be looking at value chain and business opportunities. And tonight is going to be very fun filled and lots of information that will be learned. And tonight's session will be led by none other than our very own Miss Kentisha Ward, who is the national lead consultant. And of course, I'm one of your favorite people, Miss Precious Fortune Thompson. And in grand style, I'm going to open us up in with an icebreaker. And so, of course, I want you to post your responses in the comments so that I can see it. And I want you guys to be interactive and engaging tonight. And so the icebreaker is name one food, no matter what situation you in, you're not going to eat it. Now, for me, Bahamians, we little extra. We like to take things to the extreme. I'm not eating snake. I don't care if I in the desert and that's the only thing blinking in front of my eyes. I am not eating any snake. I don't care if it could be roasted. I don't care if I could scale the skin. I'm not eating no snake. So that's what I starting off with now. I can move on to the next one. So I see Jerry is saying pig feet. Kadena is saying sushi. Now hold up now. I might have to take you out for sushi, Miss Pindamore. Kindred, escargots, Valentino, meat. Boy, I can't put that meat down. You ain't see I plump. Boy, look at that's the problem with me. I all about eating meat. Instead, I eat trees. Donnie is saying frog legs. Sheila is saying busset. I'm not familiar with busset, but whatever busset is, guys, I'm not trying it. Because one thing we don't do is we don't try things that we are not familiar with. Period. So if it ain't sound right, you don't gotta worry. We ain't trying it. I see QL Strong is saying this. Not sure if there's anything he won't eat. Well, I almost say something on this live, but I just have to remember where I am. Okay, Meredith sardines, D caterpillar. What else we have here? Larhu liver. Boy, I haven't had liver in a long time with some white rice and some corn on the side, steamed down with plenty onions. Morton is saying chicken foot. Yeah, I'm not fooling with nothing would resemble Hans. So you could keep that. Any of y'all who eating that chicken foot sauce or steamed foot, no. I don't want nothing would give me nightmares at night. It just ain't happening. I stick to simple things. So the question is, what is one food that you sure in eating no matter what? And of course, I had to go left and say snake. And a lot of you had great responses in the comments. And a lot of them I agree with because I'm not eating no dog like Angelo say. I'm not eating no caterpillar like D. I'm not eating no chicken foot like Morton. Okay, I with you. I'm not even eating the land crab. I might just maybe the biters, but I'm not eating no crab. Chicken feet over liver any day. No, I almost toasted that. No. All right. Snake is actually pretty good. That's okay. I don't care if it's skinned. I don't care if it's sauteed, it boiled, it roasted. I'm not having it. I'm not having it. So if any of y'all trying to invite me out, y'all and hear me say all the food options that I'm just not going to eat. So act accordingly. So thank you all for participating in tonight's icebreaker. Tonight, like I said, we will be looking at value chain and business opportunities. Once again, make sure to complete the attendance. You can place any questions or concern in the chat, in the comments, or also in the Telegram group. And also, if you have not done so, please ensure that you log on to the Google Classrooms. In the Google Classrooms, this is where you have access to all of the content that we share in our training classes. And of course, you can always go back and catch the rebroadcast of tonight's session. So right now, I'm going to bring Miss Kentisha Ward on stage, who is our national lead consultant, and she will be facilitating tonight's class. Good night, Kentisha.
Good night, Precious. Good night. Good night. Awesome job with the icebreaker once again. I was here backstage laughing once again. Good job, Precious. Good night, everybody. Good night. Good night. I'd like to welcome you guys to day 3 of the agribusiness pre-incubation ideation training. We've been having so much fun in backstage planning everything for you guys. And we're just so excited to start seeing your Model C canvases come in. Once again, my name is Kentisha Ward. I'm the National Lead Coordinator of the Agribusiness Incubator. And tonight, along with me, I have our National Marketing Consultant, Ms. Precious Fortune Thompson, and also our International Incubator Consultant, Inessa Salomo, as well, backstage with me. Once again, before we get started, I'd like to remind you guys that this training session is hosted by the United Nations Food and Agricultural Organization, along with the Ministry of Agriculture here in the Bahamas, as a TCP to enhance the opportunity for farmers, fishermen, processors, and agriculturalists. The opportunity to also enhance their technical business skills, production skills, planning skills, and also access to funding on the islands of Abaco and Grand Bahama. And if you didn't know or if you don't remember, our classes are held every Monday and Wednesday at 6 p.m. right here on YouTube. And if possible or if need be, you guys can look over to the bottom, or it should be to the bottom of my screen. You'll see a red button. And that red button will give you the opportunity to subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you guys can always keep up to date when we have new trainings coming out as well. Also, as Precious said, if you missed any of the trainings in the past week, you can either go to the YouTube channel, our Google Classroom, or even our Telegram group to catch up on all the classes that you may have missed. Your Model C Canvas that we're working on now will be due at the end of this pre-incubation program to continue on to the next phase, which is known as the incubation process. This completed canvas will be due on February 28th, 2022. If you want a light review or you have some questions and you just want some of the incubator consultants to take a look at it, feel free to email us at agribahamasincubator@gmail.com for this review so that we can give you the adequate feedback that you may need or want. Also, as Precious stated, we have a Telegram group, and that's where most of the action happens. That's where most of the questions come in. I also want to encourage you guys to click on the link in the chat, which is to the right of you, and that will give you access to our Telegram group. Okay, so now we're getting started. And once again, feel free to ask any questions to the chat to the right of us if you see anything that you may have a question about. So tonight, we're talking all about value chains and business opportunities. Now, I love value chains because value chains, you get to go inside the way that things are actually really, really produced. And we get to see the things that add value to some of the finished products that we actually have. And also looking at business opportunities that can be formed from those value chains. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so value chains are defined as a set of linked activities that work to add value to a product. It consists of actors and actions that improve a product. Technical challenges. While linking commodity producers to processors and also markets. What is a value chain, you may ask? I describe it as basically going from point A to point B. It's the concept of describing the full chain of a business activities in the creation of a product or service, from the initial reception of materials all the way through its delivery to the market and everything in between. So for many of us who are entrepreneurs, we just think about our product. We just think about the value that we have in the completed product, but not the value that can be added along the way throughout the value chain. And also all the other persons who are involved in the initial value chain. We have our inbound logistics, we have our operations, outbound logistics, marketing and sales, and services. Also, support activities that all work together to help us generate profit. Okay, so here we have another definition. A value chain encompasses the flow of products, knowledge, and information, finance, payments, and social capital needed to organize producers and also communities. Why are value chains important, you may ask? Value chains can identify weaknesses that prevent progress and suggest actions for improvement. The economic value of agricultural produce is multiplied if the value chain of the product is strong, efficient, and sustainable. Now, talking about agricultural value chains, this may include a large range of activities. So it's not just the farmer that contributes to the value chain. You also have the person who sells the fertilizer, who makes sure that the farmer's produce is big and juicy and plentiful. We also have, let's say, the person who sells the seeds. Without the person who sells the seeds, how will the farmer grow? You also have the company that delivers the produce from one island to the other, and even the company that actually offers retail services that delivers that product to the final customer. But what about packaging? Did we forget about packaging? Packaging also plays a big role in the value chain because we have to make sure that our product can get safely from one end to the next and also be preserved. Food testing, also another part of the value chain. So here on this list, we have in front of us, we have the development and dissemination of plant and animal genetic material. We spoke about seeds, also input supply, fertilizers, even the farmers' organizations act as a part of the value chain because they also protect the farmers and their outputs. Farm production, post-harvest handling, the processing and provision of technologies, production and handling. And don't worry, you're going to hear more about that in this class as well. Also, grading criteria and facilities, cooling and packing technologies, post-harvest and local processing, industrial processing. We also have storage and transport. As farmers, how many times do you harvest but you have nowhere to store? What if there was someone in the value chain who could take a hold of that business opportunity? Also, finance. Farmers, agriculturists, all entrepreneurs, to be able to add value or create value, they need money. So finance also is a large part of the value chain. And also feedback from markets. Having that information not only go out to your customers and letting your customers know what's in your product, but also having feedback from your customers and letting you know what needs to be added to your product or how you can add value to your product. Here in front of us, we have an ICT module for digitizing agri-value chain. Now, I put the ICT model here because I know going forward in the future, everything is more technology savvy. And a big part of this training is being able to advance agriculture into a more technological format. So being able to look at this diagram here in the front of us, we have many different portions of the value chain that many of us have never even realized. For local farmer, we may understand the packaging, we may understand the shipping, we may understand the fertilizer, we may understand the milling, we may understand the seeds. But what about the importance of knowing where farms are and their access to water? That also gives us access to, or that also shows us an important part of the value chain. Also, what about being able to have yield estimation for your crops? Being able to know or forecast how much you're going to grow before you even grow it. So you could start finding ways to market it and you could have access to valuable markets saying, well, I'm going to grow a lot more than I grew last year by having that yield estimation. Also, very, very important, pest and disease monitoring. That's a whole other portion of the value chain that many of us here in the Bahamas don't realize until we get to the point of having some sort of pest infestation. Also, crop harvest and crop sale. Also, processing. Like I say, during this class, we're going to talk a whole lot about processing. Also procurement and retail sales management, even like we said before, human resource management. As we're going forward in the future, we even have agri-tech, agri-technology that's more interested in forming blockchains and traceability so that we know that this mango came from Mr. Roberts' farm or this coconut came from Mr. Roll's farm. So we have access to that kind of information via being able to use technology. This other slide shows us a little bit more information about the value chain, one we may be a little bit more familiar with. So at the top, we have farmlands, greenhouses, seeds, fertilizers, equipment, crop protection. These are some of the primary levels of the value chain, being able to provide the outputs. But after those outputs are done, we have other parts of the value chain that is very, very important: production and processing. And here locally, some of the times this is where the breakdown happens. After we've grown all of these onions, what are we going to do with all of these onions? How are we going to process them? And after we process them, how are we going to package them? How are we going to package them to take them to market? Okay, how are we going to process them into different forms? How are we going to turn maybe cane juice into sugar? How are we going to process corn? How are we going to process potatoes, cassava? Those are just a few of those things a few of the things that we're talking about. Also creating value added products from the things that you process. So being able to turn those mangoes into jams or turn those guavas into jams, being able to turn that potato, those sweet potatoes that you're growing, into potato flour. Also, we have transportation and infrastructure, another very important part of the value chain. We can grow as much as we want to grow, but how are our products going to get to the consumers or to the market? We have to factor in transportation as well. Storage, where are we going to store once again? Does it have to be cold or dry storage? Do we have access to cold storage? What is the local cost of cold storage and dry storage? Okay, so those are some of the questions that we ask when we start looking at the value chain. So here are some of the features of the value chain. I would say currently, right now, for many farmers or many small farmers, we're frequently involved in informal chains that deliver products to local middlemen and then to small local stores. But being able to look at the way that the value chain can be innovated, you also have formal value chains that can also deliver that same product, usually in a more better, uniform quality from larger farms or more organized groups of small farmers to more commercial wholesalers, and from there to supermarkets or exporters. This can happen through a cooperative, where a cooperative can get together with all of their cooperative members and say, we want to be able to have all the onions in one central place, and let's be able to distribute to some of the hotels who are now demanded to buy local. Okay, so let's talk about value chain breakdowns. The other day I was on the call. I had the pleasure of being on the call with the ministry, where we had over 300 plus persons talking about agriculture in the country. For me as an entrepreneur, I heard a lot of different value chain breakdowns. So, and we get to see it as consumers in the final market. So on your screen, you're going to get to see an example of a value chain breakdown. So for example, we have poor quality of seeds and varieties, inappropriate for the various uses. So a farmer may get a poor quality of seeds, and the varieties may not be good for the climate. After that, we'd have poor quality of product at harvest, with grains inconsistent in size and coloration. So the final product won't be as of good quality and as of same value. Also, we have inadequate threshing techniques in post-harvest drying and storage, which reduce the quantity and market quality. So therefore, the value is also reduced there. Also, inadequate grading. For a lot of times when we're taking our final product to market, we have to go through a grading system. Grade A, grade B, grade C. What if it's graded incorrectly? How does that affect the value of your product? So that's also another problem in the value chain system. We also have there's also insufficient market development and communication with markets regarding varieties and quality of sorghum desire. Now that's a product that's coming from Africa. Insufficient training and finance for improved post-harvest management. So after the harvest has already been harvested, who's trained to actually maintain it, manage it, and also finance the enhancement of this product? Okay, so this is the example of sorghum in Africa. It has multiple end uses, including porridge, flour, snacks, couscous, and other products for human consumption, inputs for bear production, and feed for poultry animals. Okay, so before we go on, I want to play a video for you. This video is going to explain a little bit more about the agricultural value chain system.
Meet Gil. Gil lives in East Timor and works as a farmer. His family suffers from low income and poor living conditions as Timorese horticulture farming provides a very low return. Gil can only cover his own needs instead of selling his harvest. He's worried. Despite working hard day and night, Gil can't make enough money to support his family. Meet Amivi. She is a researcher for the International Labour Organization. Amivi wants to understand why Gil and other Timorese farmers cannot support a better livelihood. Amivi sets out to find what's in the way of better jobs in East Timor's horticulture sector. But how? She takes a closer look at how horticulture products get to market and the roles that farmers, traders, wholesalers and other actors, as well as supporting functions and rules, play in the process. In doing so, Amivi applies the value chain development approach. First, she tries to understand how the market works by talking to different market players and understanding their roles and needs. Doing this, she determines one of the obstacles preventing higher productivity: the farmer's lack of knowledge about modern cultivation techniques. Amivi discovered that this information was exchanged in larger, more central markets. But Gil had no access. So Amivi looks for possible market-led solutions. She finds Erin, a specialized distributor nearby who is interested in expanding her business. Amivi proposes a deal. Erin agrees to provide training and sell quality inputs to farmers and in exchange buys back their produce at a fair price. This improves the supply of information about cultivation techniques and the benefits of high-quality inputs. It allows Erin to grow her distribution network and increase profits from additional sales of inputs and aggregated produce. What's more, the agreement increases productivity by creating new market relationships that better enable smallholder produce to get to market. So what was the key to success? Instead of proposing a short-term quick fix, Amivi uncovered the root cause of the problem by understanding the system and, together with its key players, found solutions for making the whole value chain work better. This resulted in increased income as well as better quality of work for Gil and other Timorese farmers, as well as other actors in the value chain. Cooperating with governments and NGOs worldwide, the ILO has applied this approach in many countries and sectors with sustainable success. Value Chain Development by the International Labour Organization.
Okay, so that was a video telling you all about value chain, agricultural value chains. Now we're going to get back into our lecture. Okay, so we just spoke about value chain breakdowns. Now we're going to talk about the good stuff, value chain breakthroughs. So up at the top here, we have in Uganda, Iburi strengthened the sorghum value chain by offering farmers production contracts with guaranteed prices along with quality requirements, which led many more farmers to grow the grain. So how did this strengthen the value chain? First, we have in was able to guarantee prices to the farmers or cost to the farmers, so the farmers would be able to receive a certain amount of money for these grains, but also the farmers that in turn had to provide or had to stick to quality requirements. That also increased their value, but it also may have enhanced maybe the testing sector of that area of that part of the value chain as well. Now that may sound familiar to something we may have just heard of. Currently here in the Bahamas, we just passed a bit of legislation that speaks about hotels, wholesalers, and retailers being able to or having to purchase at least 40% of their products from Bahamian producers. Now, if it's one thing I can guarantee you, those hotels are going to want to purchase the high end, top class, grade A produce. So we know that as farmers and also agriculturalists, we have to do what it takes to be able to provide that grade A produce as well. So that's also going to be able to strengthen the value chain, because as farmers, I'm going to ask for better fertilizer. I'm going to ask for better farming techniques so that I can make sure that I have that grade A produce. Okay? And over to the right, we have another example of a value chain breakthrough, where we always hear about some of the food processing challenges that we have here in the Bahamas. We have so much wastage, so much output. Where can we go as entrepreneurs to be able to process our goods? So you also have Grow the Food Lab, which is a processing facility geared to be able to process local wastage, also goods that are grown here in the Bahamas, to transform them into finished value-added goods, to be able to reduce the wastage and enhance the food production here in the Bahamas and lower the import of foods as well. So I asked one question after all of that talking. I asked one question. You guys feel free to answer in the question section to the right or in the comment section to the right. Which part of the value chain does your business serve? For many of us, we're farmers, we're fishermen, but which part of the value chain does your business serve? I'll give you a few minutes to answer. Okay, I don't see any answers. So that means everybody is serving the viewing part of the value chain, not even the answering part of the value chain. So we have some farmers. I know we have farmers. How many processors do we have? Those persons who are able to get produce off the farm and be able to process them into final value-added goods. Maybe jams, pepper sauce, because the farmer isn't always the processor. And sometimes we have to understand that farmers are there to farm. Processors are there to process. Now, being able to process as a farmer, that's adding value and adding revenue streams. What about the persons in packaging? What about the persons in marketing? Marketing also serves a big role in the value chain as well, because we have to make sure that the information gets to the customer before the product. Okay? So those are some good answers. We have some farmers, so that's really, really good. I know I'm talking to persons who have some experience in the area that I was raised to know about. So now we're going to move on to business opportunity. I'm going to play the video about business opportunity. It's going to explain a little bit more about what a business opportunity is. And then I'll go into talking a little bit more about how business opportunities and also the value chain work hand in hand.
A business opportunity, or BOSOP, involves sale or lease of any product, service, equipment, etc. that will enable the purchaser licensee to begin a business. The licensor or seller of a business opportunity usually declares that it will secure or assist the buyer in finding a suitable location or provide the product to the purchaser licensee. This is different from the sale of an independent business, in which there is no continued relationship required by the seller. Eckhart and Shane, 2003, argue that when taking the path of entrepreneurship, one of the most important indicators for future entrepreneurship is the skill of finding the business opportunity. This is seen as the linchpin around which the promise of entrepreneurial venture is to be built. Shane and Venkataraman state that individuals must possess prior knowledge and the cognitive properties necessary to value such knowledge in order to identify the new opportunity. This normally allows a triggering of the opportunity, which can then move forward to scoping and validation. A common type of business opportunity involves a company that sells bulk vending machines and promises to secure suitable locations for the machines. The purchaser is counting on the company to find locations where sales will be high enough to enable him to recoup his expenses and make a profit. Because of the many cases of fraudulent BizOps in which companies have not followed through on their promises, or in which profits were much less than what the company led the investor to believe, governments closely regulate these operations. In the United States, the Federal Trade Commission receives complaints and helps coordinate enforcement action against fraudulent business opportunities. A business opportunity consists of 4 elements, all of which are to be present within the same timeframe window of opportunity and most often within the same domain or geographical location, before it can be claimed as a business opportunity. These 4 elements are: 1. A need. 2. The means to fulfill the need. 3. A method to apply the means to fulfill the need, and 4. A method to benefit. With any one of the elements missing, a business opportunity may be developed by finding the missing element. A desirable characteristic is for the combination of elements to be unique. The more control an institution or individual has over the elements, the better they are positioned to exploit the opportunity and become a niche market leader.
On our YouTube channel. Good day, everybody. Sorry, I hope you guys are hearing me. All of the videos that you guys are seeing here on the YouTube channel, you can also find them on the Google Classroom as well if you want to be able to play them back if you feel if you've missed them. The YouTube videos and also extra activities are also on there to assist you with filling out your Model C Canvas. So now we've watched that video on business opportunity. We went through the lecture about value chains. I want to ask you guys another question. Locally, where you are, where I am, here in the Bahamas, which areas in the value chain can use improvement? I'll give you guys a few minutes to answer the question. Feel free to use the comment box on the right-hand side to answer all of your questions. Delivery, marketing, yes. Definitely. I think agricultural marketing could use a lot more improvement, especially in the area of agricultural knowledge. Being able to market to persons to make agriculture look new and innovative. I definitely think that's an avenue. Distribution, yes. How can we get our products out to the market in a wide scale? Do we have to do it, or should another company be able to distribute it? Packaging, yes, very, very important. If I'm a big farmer on in Grand Bahama, how am I going to get my products to Nassau? Also, if I'm a farmer or a processor in Freeport with Grand Bahama, with the largest shipping port, how can I get my products from Grand Bahama right there to Miami? Okay, finance, farming is expensive. How am I going to be able to till my land? I need to be able to have funding as well. Okay, packaging and advertising. This, especially packaging that can advertise your product and not just transport your product. Because packaging is used for many different things. Sometimes it's used to preserve, sometimes it's used to transport, and it's also used as a marketing technique to be able to inform the final user exactly what is in the product. Okay, help with preparing produce to market and packaging. Yes. Okay. I even heard somebody in one of the calls the other day, they also said being able to have the adequate training to be able to scale up is also important as well. That's another important part of the value chain. Okay. So very, very good answers. Thank you so much for everybody for being able to participate and answer that question. And trust me, we as farmers and agriculturalists, we know the areas of the local value chain that can use improvement. Now it's time to implement them in our businesses as well. Because we know if we could be able to impact a part of the value chain, we can be able to create impact with our business plans as well. Okay, so are these business opportunities? These things that we spoke about, distribution, delivery, packaging, testing, can these breakdowns in the value chain also be business opportunities? Okay, so here are some of the things. We have lack of farmer training, adequate soil testing, lack of access to quality seeds and feeds, transport to market, and also processing of raw produce. These are a few different things that we may face challenges with here in the local value chain. But how can these also be business opportunities for us as well? These areas that impact the value chain also create great impact throughout the community as well. So business opportunity refers to the occasion or opportunity to start a business idea, enter a new job, sector, or launch a new product on the market. A good example of a business opportunity is when a need is identified in an unsatisfied market. Also, having the financial and technological capacity as well to be able to fulfill that need, that unsatisfied need in the market. So, back to our favorite chart, the business model C canvas. So, today we spoke about business opportunities. Now, let's talk about how it relates to your Model C canvas as well, so that we could have the adequate information to complete this Model C canvas. So here are some of the leading questions that will help you fill out your Model C canvas. Is there some business opportunity that is not being exploited? And down below, you'll see a few photos of one of the opportunities that was very rarely focused on, and especially it wasn't focused on in a wholesale manner. It was more of a luxury or a niche market. But the Bahamas still has so many more ways to grow, especially in agriculture. Many mushrooms are imported at a high cost. There is still the opportunity where they can be grown locally to decrease preservatives and also increase employment and the knowledge capacity of mushroom farming. Because if one farmer needs an employee, he's just taught another farmer. So one of the persons who were able to capitalize on this business opportunity was a company called Wilmutta Fungus. Cool name, right? That's why I picked them. And that's another good part about marketing as well. When Precious tells you a little bit more about marketing in your incubation process, she'll tell you about making sure your business has a name that sticks. Okay, and another leading question, is there some opportunity linked to the context of the problem that we propose to solve? Looking at the top of your Model C canvas in the theory of change, you would have stated a problem. So can you link that business opportunity with the problem that you intend to solve? We can list many problems locally in the agricultural field. Is there a problem that your business or idea can solve? Can it actually be connected to your impact? Farmers experience a large amount of wastage due to lack of access to processing and storage facilities. Is that a problem? What business opportunity does that present? And which business actually solves that problem? another good question is being able to look at your current business. So if you don't just have a business idea at this current point in the pre-incubation ideation session, and you already have an established business, how can we look at our established business and be able to fulfill business opportunities from the businesses that we already have? What else can we do to be able to focus on various niches? What does everyone want that no one currently does, but your business can provide? Is it fresh deliveries, organic products, soursop maybe, potato flour? Did you guys know that the gluten-free market is worth $6.6 billion? And here in the Bahamas, we have potatoes going to waste. So how can we be able to capitalize on that business opportunity from the businesses that we are already running? Maybe agricultural landscaping, maybe even drone technology. Agriculture is advancing so much. How can we advance the current businesses that we have to be able to see different business opportunities and also advance our businesses? Okay, so that brings us to the last slide. Very, very interesting class today. If you guys, once again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask those questions in the comment box so that we could be able to answer them. I'd like to thank you guys once again for coming on out of for signing into the agribusiness virtual class, the pre-incubation session, talking all about ideation and also value chains and also business opportunities. Once again, I want to remind you guys to fill out the attendance. The attendance link will be in the chat to the right of you. If you fill that out, we'll also get all of the information for that. You want to fill that out every single class that you get here. I also want to remind you to sign into the Telegram group and also the Google Classroom and ask all the questions that you need to ask. If not myself, any of the other consultants will also be able to assist you. If you're having technical challenges, we have our consultant, Tammy Archer-Morley. Some of you may have spoken to her today and she got you guys signed up. We also have our favorite Miss Precious Fortune Thompson. She can also assist you with a lot of questions. And also Miss Inessa Salomo. I will see you guys on Wednesday. If you have any questions, please feel free to message us in the Telegram and to also email us at agrobahamasincubator@gmail.com. And don't forget to fill out your Model C canvases because we will be requiring them at the end of the incubation session. Thank you so much once again. I'll hang around if you guys have any questions. Okay, thank you once again, everybody. Have a great night.